Well, I gotta say, folks, this just fits right in. The Three of Wands from a completely different deck than today's other reading came from, which was the Tarot de Marseille. I want to suggest that you take a look at that other video. Either pause this one and go to that, or watch it after this. But I might suggest actually pausing this one and going ahead to find that other one. In fact, I'll put a link for it in the description here, because just to give you a little background, the reading done yesterday for the month of February focused on a move, a transformation, starting with temperance, that moved into the cups, the suit of cups, the 5 specifically. And what I decided to do today in the other reading was, let's take a look at each of the February cards week by week, which meant we were going to look at temperance today. And I wanted to see first what area of life, what aspect of life we wanted to work on transforming, leading us into next week, where we got to the 5 of Cups. And there were 2 wands that came up, which indicated to me very clearly, okay, we want to work on our creativity. And wouldn't you know it, today's day card draws our attention right back to the creative side of ourselves. The 3. The 3 of Wands refers naturally, as I said, to the creative side of ourselves, but it refers to a period where either considerable growth has already started to take place or shortly will. We can see the action orientation of this card based on the colors. I mean, look at it looks like flames, which seems very appropriate considering the element associated with the wands, fire. I've talked elsewhere about how fire really seems like a fitting symbol for the wands, because unlike the other elements represented in the minor arcana, water, earth, and air, fire doesn't occur without a catalyst in nature, or outside of nature, outside of natural means. We have lighters, we have matches, we have bolts of lightning that appear naturally, but we don't just find fires burning. We have to have a catalyst. We have to have something that causes the ignition. And just like fire in the natural world, in tarot and in our lives, creativity doesn't just happen. We tend to have to work to cultivate it and to feed it and to develop it. And so this, on the same day that I just talked about the need to grow and expand in that regard, this tells me we've either already started or we soon will. Very encouraging. I want to take a look at a couple other cards related to this. I saw this approach discussed in a book that I read earlier this year on tarot, and looking at the numerology in particular of tarot, because I can say, well, you know, the 3s represent growth. Well, you know, how did we get there, though? You know, oftentimes we can learn about the future and the present from, you know, how we got here. So what phases of the suit of wands could we draw upon to give us some insight about how we got to this position of either already growing or getting to it very quickly? Well, we've got a 1, and even I know that 1 plus 2 equals 3. What did we have to do to get to this position? Well, we first had to have potential. And we had to realize that potential and not just dismiss it. We had to say, okay, yeah, I could do that, and then not say, but, and betray ourselves. Instead, we had to go from realizing, you know what? Maybe I can paint, just as an example. Maybe I can paint, maybe I can refinish furniture, maybe I can work on my career by taking a class, whatever. Maybe I can learn to paint. Maybe I have some ability because I see things in my head and I want to put them down so other people can see them. I think maybe I can do that. So in that one example, then we move to the 2 where we say, okay, maybe I need to do some research. Maybe I need to look up some YouTube videos online because I want to know how to mix some colors, and I want to know how to have a particular visual effect, and I want to know how to get certain things to happen with my medium of choice. We've gestated, we've grown, we've gotten some insight, we've gotten some bursts of insight. If you look closely at the card, you don't see just a blob of light. In the center, you see a pentagram, a symbol of the self, a symbol of our abilities, outside of nature, outside of what we need to simply survive, our gifts, some would call them. And so we've had our realization and acceptance of our abilities and potentials, a recognition of those. And we've even started to cultivate and develop those into something. Maybe obtaining a few little supplies here and there that we have some enthusiasm about getting to use. And now we've got something. Now we've got the ingredients we need to ignite that fire and move us forward. I think this was just spot on for what we were discussing in the other reading. Please, because this was a synchronistic experience for me and for those watching, take a look at that other video. It might, cut into Candy Crush or some of those things that we do, but I feel like this was an important combination of readings today. Sometimes I like to look, and I'll show you this briefly, at the other cards that correspond with the day card. We learned some things from it, right? We learned some process here. The 13th card of the major arcana also gives us some clues here. And we know the 13th card, death. Why does it correspond? Because minus 10, we've got a 3, right? What does death tell us about this situation here? Well, the first thing that comes to mind, probably not that we'll all die. I mean, we will, but not necessarily in connection with this reading, I hope. And hopefully we've got a little more time than that. Death does mean transformation. Death does mean transition. And in a sense, it means growth. Take a look at this guy's ribcage for a minute. We got dead bones to the left, but we've got growth, limbs, foliage, rich, green, healthy growth to the right. Growth often comes with discomfort. They don't call them growing pains for no reason. This process will benefit us. It will benefit you. It will result in refined selves, improved people, improved, more self-aware individuals, a great thing. It may also involve some discomfort, maybe even some pain. Maybe someone won't approve. Maybe someone will discourage us. But you don't need their permission. Just remember that. Don't let it discourage you. Feel the frustration. Feel the stress. Experience those things, and then let them go. Don't let them hold you back. Perhaps those emotions and experiences will inform what you create, what you develop, and that will make them all the more personal and meaningful for you and those that you communicate with through them. So, don't let that stop you. Instead, turn it into something that will help to propel you further. I believe I've taken enough of your time today between these two videos. I hope you've enjoyed this. I have found it tremendously interesting and encouraging, and I look forward to seeing where things go. I look forward to you commenting and telling me where things go for you in connection with this. Please share parts of your story in the comments. I'll find it interesting, and I look forward to seeing that. Keep an eye on the other media platforms, the Facebook and Instagram. Those get updated a lot more often than this. Still working on that, still developing that, creating that. But that's been taking a little time. So follow me on those. Make sure to subscribe here so that you do get those notifications for the updates throughout the week. And if you find this helpful, if you find it interesting, or you know somebody who might, please pass it along to them. I would love to know that it was of use to some people. So, I will let you go. I look forward to next time. Have a fine day and keep transforming, folks.